Welcome to Ask Men, everyone. And as I said, I will be out of the office either April 4th or April 19th, depending on what happens. I have people flying out here to see me, and due to a trust fund that I need to get organized for me, basically. So I wanted to give you guys that update that there will be no podcast recordings on those 2 days. But as soon as I receive the phone call from what day the appointment is going to be, I'll let you guys know so you know not to bother me. You know to bother my assistant on that day. But don't bother her too much. Anyway, enough of me rambling on and reminders of program announcements here. I'm going to let Miss Eileen take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Wynn. I'm very excited and very honored to be on your podcast and to share a little bit about my background with you. I do have a book series out called Unforgettable Faces and Stories that I have right now, and I started that back in 2011, 2012 after my dad passed away of lung cancer, and started compiling books, if you will, stories from other women about their dads that served in the military. And when I got so much feedback on that I decided to pursue and start a book series on that. And I'm now on my 8th book this year, which I'm so excited about. And the theme this year is tributes and dedications to first responders, which I'm ecstatic of. You know, the world we live in right now, we have so much to be thankful for, the people who serve us, you know, in so many different ways: firefighters, law enforcement, EMT, military, canine dogs, mounted police, all the whole gamut. So I am honored and thrilled to be doing a tribute book to first responders.
And what made you come up with that idea? I know you said you started compiling books after your dad died from lung cancer, but what made you come up with the tribute to first responders?
Great question. Well, I do a book a year, if you will, and I've, gone through, some topics that, just actually, my heart just directs me to that. I don't know how else to say it. And last year I was thinking of a topic for this year, and I'm thinking, what would really help to make a difference in other people's lives and to be something out there that would really help heal people and inspire people, because that's my mission and that's my motto, if you will. And, we had so many unfortunate situations last year that happened, by whatever means, whether situations that happened in the world. And there was just an overload of seeing these people that, serve us, and without hesitation, whether it's a fire or a hurricane or military or law enforcement, they're needed. There's these men and women that go right to work for us, to make us safe, to keep us safe. So it just hit me one day, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do a tribute to first responders, because it covers so many different areas. And even this year, unfortunately, the world we live in, it's just been out there for us and these people, serve us. And I've been very blessed with being affiliated with so many groups and organizations through this, of what they do and what they stand for and what happens in the brotherhood and the sisterhood. And it's just an incredible organization and lines of people that get together and they put their lives right on the line for us. I mean, they walk out their door in the morning and they never know if they're going to walk back home. And the sacrifice that they do and what their family does is just incredible. And I think that we as a world need to really be brought to light about what these people do for us each and every day and what they go through each and every day. I think it has to be brought forth more to us as people so that we can thank them more and thank their families more, because the families are right there serving with them because of the sacrifices that they have to make as well. And the same thing with, animals. I'm working with this. I have some people that are writing stories about canines, whether they're on a bomb explosive site or if they are dealing with drugs. I have one gentleman that now has an organization, and what he does is he takes all retired service dogs and he transitions them into regular homes after they've served so many years, and it's a wonderful organization. So these people that I'm meeting from all over has just been incredible.
And so that was going to be my next question. Are you doing this on your own, or are you having other people contribute?
What I'm doing, Wynn, is I'm reaching out to people and asking them if they would like to participate and write a story or a tribute to someone. And I do have a lot of referrals. Obviously, this is my 8th book, so I do have a target market out there, and I've been getting a lot of referrals, and but most of mine I do reach out to individuals. They can contact me. I do have information on my website and on my Facebook page, and I have a lot of people that contact me and said, I saw your post, I'd like to participate, what's it all about? So and that's the other beauty that I love about my books. It's the stories are peaks and valleys. Someone may write a tribute about someone who has been a fallen soldier, or someone may write a tribute that they're a 3rd generation in the law enforcement. They write a story about their grandfather, their uncle, their father, and now that they're 4th generation coming along. And so the stories are always peaks and valleys, and I think that people like that because you never know what the other story is going to be. And the other piece that it does is, I did my first book as a healing project after my dad died because it was a horrific death that my father went through. It was, anytime you lose someone, a piece of your heart is just torn out. And I think that we as people have sometimes we don't know how to heal. Sometimes we don't know how to take that next step forward. And each person has to go through their own healing process. And what I came to discover online was they recommended that you write in a journal. And that's where I got the idea, well, if I need help on healing, other people have to have, that same thing. So the stories help people heal. It helps people to move on. I've had several people that have, when moved on and written their own book. I have, and it helps inspire people that have had particular situations or that are a 4th generation law enforcement family, and it inspires them to perhaps go into the law enforcement. It's a great win-win for everyone, if you will.
Well, no pun intended there.
No pun intended, for sure.
Yes, no pun intended there. But I want to know, are you charging people to be in these compilations? Are you doing it? How are you getting people in? Are you charging them a small fee? Because I know I've been in compilations before myself. I don't do it anymore because it's too much. And of course, once the author is in the compilation, they don't get paid. So are you charging people to be in these, to be in your books, or are you, how are you doing it?
Another great question. I am not. There is no fee for someone to participate in my book. You would own your own story right to what you contribute to my book. So that is the way that I've done it. I have had different people that have commented and that have encouraged me to charge a fee, but I will not do that. That's not part of my mission on how I started. So that is what I do currently.
So you don't charge a fee, but how are you uploading the books and where are you selling them?
My books are done. I do them. My first couple of books, I had them I used a self-publisher. Right now, for my past 3 books, I do them myself now through Amazon, and my books are available to purchase through Amazon, through my website, and I'm also in any events that I do. And I'm also now with the first responders, I've created a t-shirt that I will be have available to people. And it says, "Thank a first responder," with unforgettable faces and stories on it. And what it is, when it's my nephews actually drew the first 4 pictures on the front of the t-shirt. You can see it on my Facebook page and my website, and I encourage all your listeners to do that. And what it is we don't know what kids think of first responders. What are they thinking? Who are they thinking of? Because as we move on, they have a lot of big shoes to fill. I hear that there's a lack of volunteer people for the fire department, or there's not as many people now that want to get into law enforcement. So we need to change that. So I had my nephews draw pictures of first responders, and that's on the t-shirts right now. And what I'm doing is I actually partnered with an organization called First Responders Children's Foundation, which is based out of New York City. However, they are a national organization, and what they do is if they have a fallen parent, or a parent that is now disabled due to being injured on the work, there's a fund created that will help their education for this money. So I have partnered with that, and I just met with my old school in Fort Edward, New York, 3rd graders, and I am partnering and working with the school. We're putting together a program where I went to the school, I spoke about first responders, talked about being an author, and they are drawing a picture of what they feel a first responder is, and we're putting the kids' pictures on the t-shirts with the school's name on the back, and they will be for sale, and a portion of those profits will go to the First Children's Foundation, which I'm very, very excited about. So that will be available on my website, and I'm also in the process of working with another website to create a marketplace, if you will.
Now, is the First Responders Foundation, are they doing elementary school funding, or are they doing college funding?
It depends. They do everything across the board. It just goes into educational purposes. The other thing is they do also have an emergency fund. So if something happens to the parent and there's an emergency situation, they can put in a request to have money help them in that situation. Because I wanted to do something that was nationwide and not just in one organization. Just because when you start dealing with that, you have so many awesome organizations out there. You don't know which one to choose. You'd like to give to them all, but you have to pick one. So I wanted something that would umbrella the nation, of who my readers are.
Now, are you taking suggestions of book topics?
I do. I have had, suggestions that people give me, which is always welcomed. I have not used one as of yet, but I would love to be able to do 2 books a year, and so that's my goal for down the road. But absolutely, I would be more than open to hearing suggestions from anyone.
Okay, because I'm thinking we need to do one on teachers, because day job, I teach in education, and I know my colleagues are listening to this, and I know they do, and they're thinking, well, what about the teachers? What about the teachers? We don't get recognition every single day, and I'll bark and squawk about this. Our paycheck isn't that high, and
Mhm.
here you are, I'll play devil's advocate here, and I'll get, probably many emails about this, but here you are talking about the first responders, and yet you're not necessarily thinking of the teachers who
Right.
who now have to deal with the child of the first respondent, because when they go to school, teachers think what is wrong with this child, and sometimes the child doesn't admit what is truly wrong with them. I mean, if
Right.
it wasn't, I apologize for the fog in myself, but I was
Oh, no
going
worries.
to say if it wasn't for the teachers understanding that I lost a parent, and then 10 days after got a job, just to keep me saying, yes, that's how it works. When loses a parent, comes home, and then 10 days after gets a teaching job. That's how it works. And then a year after writes a book. That's how it works in my life. But
Right.
I want to make sure that the teachers are heard loud and clear. Because we, even though I love my first responders, don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
I want to make sure that the teachers are heard loud and clear. And
Sure.
I think that you should do a book on teachers and the legislative teachers and because I think that would be a really powerful impact. But that's just my opinion.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I'll definitely put that on my list and of consideration. It's funny because I did have a couple of teachers that had written in some of my previous books that I had, and they're awesome. They're wonderful people, and they do a great job.
And I think that all teachers need to be recognized, whether they're purple, blue, gay, have cerebral palsy, whatever. I just think all teachers need to be recognized, and no, we don't need to be packing heat, aka
Mm-hmm.
gun violence, and
Mm-hmm.
we just need to be recognized for all the hard work we do. So that's
Right.
my suggestion, and I'll quit getting off my soapbox.
Well, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Gwen. I appreciate that suggestion.
Well, you're welcome. Now, what is your favorite book?
That my favorite book that I've done so far.
No, your favorite book to read, and then
To
your
me,
favorite book that you've done so far.
I read, and this is an older book. It was actually written, I think, back in the late 60s, early 70s, called The Magic of Thinking Big. Love that book. I read it years and years and years ago, and it just really opens your mind to think big, and I just love it. I think that every person and even every kid should read the book. It's amazing. And as far as my books, it's funny because a lot of people ask me that, and I really hesitate, but I think it's my very first book, Dedications to Dads from Their Daughters, and because it was my first book, and that's how I got started, writing a tribute about my dad who served in World War II. He was a Marine. He he fought in Iwo Jima when he was 17 years young, and I just think that that's probably that hits me the most in my heart is my very first book.
So, the very first book. So, what do you think people should read of your books? Now, then, you guys, a compilation is not like my books. I have my compilations up there on my author's page too, and a compilation could go from 10 to 20 stories in one book. So it's not one sitting. Thank you very much. But Ellen, what do you think people should read as to get to know you and as their first book in Ellen's series?
I think if you were going to choose any book in my series to start with, oh, that's a tough one. I probably would choose Stories of New Beginnings, Starting Over Stories of New Beginnings. That was my book that I did last year. And the book was awesome. I actually designed and was on the cover of this book, and I just think that Stories of New Beginnings was so powerful because the stories were all, again, peaks and valleys, because we all have stories of new beginnings in our lives all the time. You know, as people, that's just the way that our life goes. And I think for people to get to know the series, get to know me, get to know themselves, I would probably recommend that one out of all of them to start with, and then buy them all.
To start and then buy them all. Now,
Correct.
are they in ebook and audio book or just paperback books?
The only book that I have in ebook right now is Pet Tales. Everything else, I'm just doing paperback for now. I haven't done. I don't know if you are your books on ebook.
Oh yes, they are. Oh yes, they are. And that's excuse me as I pull my soapbox out again, but that's how most people read, able-bodied and especially the disabled. That's how most people read my books. I mean, audiobooks. People, I'm sorry, but let me pull my soapbox again. People are not going to sit down and read a 10-page, 10-story anthology. I'm sorry, but I think you need to put it on ebooks and paperback books because people don't want to lug big fat anthology in a suitcase.
Right. Good point. But right now, that's the only one that I have. I may consider doing the book that's coming out now. It will be out right after Labor Day, and I may consider putting that on an ebook. I haven't really decided what route to go with that yet.
Yeah. Well, I think you should, but that's only my suggestion. So
yeah, well, thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. So if you wanted to be educated by anyone inside or outside your field, who would it be and why?
Right now, with the people that I've met and I've been introduced to, I know that you know Elizabeth Hamilton Guarino, and love her dearly. I am fascinated with her mission, her story, where she's come from, what she's done, and where she's going. I think she's very, very fascinating. She lives actually in Maine, and my husband and I live in New Hampshire, so we're not too far from each other, and we plan on getting together. I just think that the knowledge and the encouragement and the inspiration that she has is incredible. So she's probably, someone that I would really love to have as a mentor.
Well, there you go. I have a book. Speaking of a paperback book, she sent me, I didn't know she was doing this, but she sent me her book. Now I have to read it. It's upstairs and in my kitchen, and now I have to read it. And
does it percolate?
Yeah.
It's
she
awesome.
Sent me
it's an awesome
copy
book.
of her book, and if you guys want to go back and figure out who Ellen is talking about, go back to Elizabeth's episode or go to her show, The Best of You, and I am the last episode. Yours truly is the last episode. of Best of You. And
that's awesome.
actually, I have one episode before me. I lied because she did an episode yesterday. So I have one episode before me. But if you guys want to know about my story when I got interviewed by her, either go to Best of You or go scroll down the feed and click on Elizabeth Guarino, and then we can, you'll figure out who Ellen is talking about.
Okay. She's fabulous. She really is fabulous.
Yeah, and now I have to tell her that she's going to show it on my podcast. So, Ellen, where can people find you? And of course, where can people find your book?
Thank you. I appreciate that. You can go to my website, unforgettablefacesandsstories.com, and you can see all my information there. You can also find me on Facebook under the same name, Unforgettable Faces and Stories, and please like that page, and they can spread the word and tell all their friends. I'm also available on LinkedIn, and that is through my personal name, but it has all my storytelling and author and business information on that under Eileen Doyon, and it's Doyon. I am on Twitter, Faces and Stories, and also Pinterest, Faces and Stories, and also I have a YouTube station, which is under Faces and Stories as well. So I'm out there. You can find me very easily. My books are available through Amazon, and or you can message me through my website, and I do have books available that I can ship from my home as well.
Well, that's wonderful. And if people want to get an autographed copy for our loved one, do you do that service or no?
I do. If I have the book, which I have most of them here at my home, I would be more than glad to do that. That would be an honor for me to do that for someone. And
that's always a good plan, and I just was curious about that. And go ahead.
Just as a reminder, there's still time for people that would like to participate in my next book, Tributes and Dedications to First Responders. You can go to my website and you can send me a message through there or through my Facebook page, and I will get back in touch with you in regards to the outline and the details if someone is interested. And again, the book will be available right after Labor Day of this year. And if anyone is interested in purchasing a T-shirt and making a difference in a first responder's life, they can message me again either through my Facebook page or my website. And I'm just strongly encouraging people to do that. It's a great organization win.
So if they want to help you out, all they have to do is message you, and of course, you guys know me, I'm good with show notes. We'll have all of Ellen's information in the show notes. I hand that off to my assistant, and we've been doing this project so long that she can do it in her sleep, practically. We have been doing this podcast so long, we can do it in our sleep.
That's awesome.
We just know how to do it. I mean, she's awesome, and occasionally I don't even look at the schedule. I say, oh, here's someone that emailed me, put them on my schedule, book them in, and she just books them in. That being said, by the way, you guys, I am actually looking for someone. I have a backup plan if this person doesn't appear out of the woodwork. I'm actually looking for someone to do a special episode with me on close to June 22nd, which happens to be my 31st birthday. So, if you want to come on and interview me, I won't be interviewing you. You have to put your podcast legs on and interview me. So if you want to come on and talk to me and interview me, you're more than welcome to do that. You can tweet me at WinKellyToll, or just, if you know someone, you can just email me, which my email's in the show notes anyway. And my email is aspenwin@gmail.com. And so you guys can email me, tweet me, and we'll figure this out. I do have a backup plan, you guys. Trust me, I do have a backup plan as a person that can interview me, but I thought I would throw that out there to you guys first before I ask this person. But trust me, if you guys don't take me up on my offer, I do have a backup plan, and I am not telling you who it is yet, but yet I will tell you who it is as we get closer, because this will be a really interesting interview if it happens. I mean, yep. And so I have a backup plan. I'm not telling you who my backup plan is yet, but if you guys want to interview me, you're more than welcome to it. And I do this one every single year, so you're more than welcome to it. Now, Ellen, I know you had questions for me, which Ellen nicely texted me, by the way. And so I'm going to let her ask me the questions she texted me.
Well, I saw on your information that you have a jewelry design, a jewelry line out. Tell me about that, and when did you start that?
Well, okay, there's a long story behind this one. I used to be a self-taught digital artist, and what I did was put my art on jewelry, and then what I did was I wrote about it in a book, believe it or not, and that book is called The View from My Hills. And so I am, even though I'm a self-taught jeweler, even though I'm a self-taught digital artist, which, yes, my art is still floating around online, but I'm not a jewelry designer per se. I just use that persona in my books because I just feel like I should. And so that's what you're referencing, even though I have stuck my art on jewelry, I think you're referencing one of my books.
Well, I have to be sure to do that. Thank you. And what about veterans? You also said that you do a lot of work with veterans. Tell me about that.
I do a lot of work with veterans because this is another interesting story that you guys do not know. Well, some of you may know this. My grandfather fought in the World War II on the beaches of Antioch in Germany. And so on the beaches of Antioch. And he got severely injured. And my dad has the Purple Heart, and his Purple Heart and the Silver Star of Bravery. And so I do a lot of work with veterans. One, I work with a program that I personally work with called Challenge Aspen, has one of the top veterans programs in the country. I also do work with a program that I found online called Veterati, and I'm a mentee on that. And so that's how I work with veterans, only because I'm a Army brat by third generation. I never got to meet my grandfather, but I always wanted to do something like that. And a couple of my family members were affected by 9/11 as well. And so when you mentioned the first responders, in my head, I'm still thinking about the funding for 9/11, which still exists. And I remember exactly where I was on 9/11. I'm actually in that same office, you guys, my colleagues still know, but I sat in that room on 9/11. Now of course they know because they heard me mention it. But so my office kind of haunts me because that's where I was on 9/11, and I know exactly who I was with, and I was in 8th grade at the time, and I thought it was a joke when I watched the first plane fly in to the World Trade Center, and because it was only 7 o'clock in the morning out here, and I was up getting ready for school. And so my mom was alive at the time. I beat my mom in the kitchen and said, "Mom, plane flew into the World Trade Center," and that's how we started our day. And then I went to school, and my the principal called a meeting, and I vividly remember what he said. He said to the kids, "You're not going anywhere until I tell you," because at that time, at 10 o'clock in the morning, parents were calling him freaked out because they're like, what are kids supposed to do? And so which is now my office, I sat in that back of the room wondering what's going on, and a couple teachers' families were involved in 9/11, and so just swinging back to you, I think the work that you're doing with the First Responders Fund is wonderful.
Right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Lynn. I appreciate that. And what you do as well.
Well, I try. I don't know if this makes big impact or not, but I try to make a big impact for those who can't speak, and I'm trying to get a journalism degree. Also, you guys, you kind of have to go back and read I Come Win. For those of you who haven't read it, I mentioned a big yellow Caterpillar tractor, and thank you very much, because the big Caterpillar tractor, the big yellow Caterpillar tractor, has now saved my life. That's where the trust is coming from. Thank you very much. And so, my trust is public. Where I got my trust is public, and I come a winner. I didn't realize that it was going to come back and haunt me. I shouldn't say haunt me, but bless me. But I mentioned that in my book, and my dad okayed it. So now the big Caterpillar tractor is coming back to blessing my life, and I'm sure I should put a big piece of Caterpillar tractor on my next book, on my next autobiography, because that is significant in my life, and people are always fascinated that my grandfather on my mom's side founded Caterpillar Tractor in Canada, and also founded Caterpillar Tractor in the Bahamas.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So you guys now have to read I Come a Win. You also have to read Ellen's anthologies, because Ellen's anthologies sound wonderful, and maybe I can convince her to put them on ebook for you guys, little ebooks, because no one wants to be carrying around a 10-chapter anthology. I'm sorry, but they don't. So maybe after Ellen and I think she'll put them on ebooks. I have my tricks to get these 20-chapter books on ebooks. Trust me, you guys, I should probably do a whole episode on that. But I thank Ellen for coming on and sharing her story and talking to us about her book and her anthologies, and hopefully you go and support Ellen. And please, 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 if you do, leave a review so more people can find the book. And please leave a review on I Come On Win. I Come On Win is on audio tape, it's on ebook, it's everywhere. So please, 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 please leave a review for any independent author you find, including Elizabeth's books. And one of Elizabeth's books was published by Hay House, Elizabeth Garino's books, and one of them was self-published. So please, 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 please pick up a copy of Elizabeth's books so you know what we're talking about and who we're talking about. But please leave reviews on any books you find. All it does is get Amazon very excited to show off more books to potential readers. So I want you guys to do that, and I want you guys to go find Ellen's books, pause this podcast, and go find Ellen's book, or go find my books, and just support the independent authors, you guys. And I thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you very much, Wynn. Have a great day. Bye-bye.